Today on Mental Health Matters with Marty, schools are opening. What do we do next? Stay tuned. Hey, y'all, welcome to Mental Health Matters with Marty, and I am Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist. And y'all, it is burning hot here in Southern California of 100 degrees out here, y'all. But we want you to stay cool, calm, and collective because we are here to remind you about COVID schooling, and schools are beginning to slowly open up across this nation. What are we doing about that? Listen, let us know you're on the air. Listen, like and share. Things are happening across this nation. 33 states are having increases with this COVID. More and more kids are being affected by this as a result of some of the schools opening. And we have questions. I have questions. We have brought some amazing experts on here today that we want to just have this conversation. Let us know you're on there. Hit us up. Let us know you're watching. Like and share. But as always, we want to remind you that this show serves as educational purposes only. Educational purposes only. We are not a substitute for medical advice for anyone, and we are not a substitute. We go in line with the recommendations of the CDC because we want you to be safe. However, if you are experiencing any type of medical or psychiatric emergency, we want you to go to your nearest provider or call 911 to get help or contact your nearest hospital. As always, we want you to be safe out there. As so many things are going up and we're in this amazing, I guess amazing is a word that we want to use for this, something we've never seen before. In the midst of a pandemic, we're in the midst of political, having an election coming up. We're in the midst of trying to reopen schools. We're still dealing with so much social and cultural and racial discrimination and injustice across and anger is brewing all across this nation, but we want to encourage you, always use wisdom. Have passion, but use wisdom because we always want you to be safe and secure and sound. So please, 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 please like, share. We know that the presidential debate is going up tonight. We are not taking any sides as a Mental Health Matters with Marty, but we definitely want to encourage you to vote, 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 because your voice matters. But without any further ado, I want to bring in my co-host all the way from the DMV, our house and residential expert as it pertains to mental health, counseling, and schooling. None other than the one, the only, the mystery, the myth. Am I saying enough? Brother Thomas Davis. What's up?
What's up, man? Happy Tuesday. Thank you for that Tuesday. Mystery and mysterious introduction.
Hey,
hey, man.
I'll just let you know, this is the actual last Tuesday you get to celebrate your birthday month, because the real birthdays are coming up in October. It's Libra season. It's really about to be wild and crazy. And just because we know how to roll like that. Yes!
That's how you feel?
That's exactly how I feel.
I got you.
What's going on, Thomas, out there in the DMV?
Well, it's not hot in the DMV. It's rainy and it's allergy season. For those who are streaming, I have not been crying today. It's called Allergies on 1000. But I am happy to be here today. I'm happy to be able to continue this dialogue. And I'm happy about our panelists this evening. Yes. We have a very diverse panelist tonight. So I'm just excited.
Yeah, so am I. I can't type and do all these at the same thing. Angelica, what's going on? That's right, Libra seat. All my Libras is coming out the woodworks. Come on, fellow Libras. Speak up, speak out, and live.
Miss Angelica, I hate to tell you, but Virgos rule, okay? I still love you, but Virgos rule.
Okay, we're not even going into the what. Listen, I was watching Good Morning America, and I know that we have been talking about at the beginning of this. There's my mom. Hey guys. Hey mom.
Hey.
At the beginning of this,
Hi, Mom.
we were talking about, and speaking of other mothers, right? Thank God for our moms, right?
Right.
If we had nobody else watching us, it's our moms. But we were talking about at the beginning of this how the especially with our elementary age school kids and everything, that there was a very low infection rate that had been catching around 2%, if you will. However, with the starting of schools, Good Morning America reported via the CDC and so that number has increased to 10%.
Yes.
And I believe it was an 8-year-old young girl who died as of, I want to say, yesterday.
Wow.
From the coronavirus and everything as well. So, our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to those families, to those young people, because we never want to ignore that. But what are you guys doing? Because what's going on with your school and starting, and how are you feeling and your staff feeling?
Let me see. Maybe that's why my allergies are on 10. I would just say that we are moving to reopen in the district. We are looking at different models. We are looking at bringing in our special education students first, or we're looking at doing the hybrid model. We are really just trying to figure out what's going to be the best fit for our students, and most of all, what is going to be best for our teachers and our staff. Because what is important for us here is that we aren't rushing things. I know pressure is on us, from the powers that be, that we have to reopen schools and that this is happening, but we want to make sure that we are not just rushing it because everyone else is doing it, right? So we want to make sure that we are just taking every precaution, looking at what can work, what may not work, what may happen, what's the plan for that. So we are in the forming stage.
Okay. Sounds good. So what are you doing? What has the anxiety level been with even? Hey, Johnny.
What's up, Johnny?
That's my boy, Johnny. Even with your staff and even maybe some of the parents, teachers, what is that looking like for you out there in the DMV?
Well, if I start with our lovely parents, as always, we always say to them, we salute you because you guys are in the rooms with our students as we are continuing to teach our babies. So shout out to our parents, our grandparents, our custodial parents, everybody. So I think the parents are ready for their child to come back to school.
Some of them are, with that.
They have been with them since March the 15th, right? So teaching new things, teaching them how to navigate through different academic platforms has been a positive, and it also has been a negative. So I think for our parents, they are eagerly ready for them to return, but they're also understanding that they don't want their child to come home sick, right? So it's like a slippery slope. But for the teachers are just like, what are we going to do? And we want to make sure, and I have to give credit to our district. We are making sure that we are giving our teachers as much information as we receive it, because we want them to be able to plan, to self-care, to develop those coping strategies, to understand that every cough is not COVID, every sneeze is not a symptom, it's allergy. So we are just making sure that we are just doing our workshops, our developments, just educating everybody on what's going on. So that's where we are, man.
Excellent. Well, listen, let's bring on our guests. Because you and I can talk all day, but I don't want to keep them. First and foremost, I want to bring in someone I've known since she was in high school. So that does not age me, that ages her. But an amazing, has passion for young people, has been doing this and for some time. Want to bring on Mrs. Charlotte Stewart, who is an elementary school teacher in Orange County. What's up, Charlotte?
What's going on, guys?
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
I love your backdrop.
Yes.
This is class right here. So welcome to my classroom.
Thank you.
Class. You're in my classroom. So welcome to my classroom.
Well, can I just say that your classroom is welcoming, it's warm, and it's colorful. So thank you so much for bringing the energy into your room. Thank you.
Yes. Charlotte, tell us about yourself, the grade you teach, and how long you have been teaching.
Okay, well, my name is Charlotte. I have been teaching. This is going into my 22nd year, and I've been teaching at
Wow.
the same school in Santa Ana for 22 years. I've been there for 22 years.
Wow.
And I teach kindergarten. When I first started, I started at third grade.
Right.
And I have been in kindergarten ever since. I did third grade for 6 years, and now I'm back. I'm in kindergarten. So I love kindergarten. I love students. I love students.
Look who put. Hey, Auntie Charlotte, love my auntie.
Oh
yes.
My gosh. Oh my gosh. The great thing about it is he went to school and he was in first grade there with Miss Oakley. He went to school with me. In first grade, he had Miss Oakley.
Yes.
And I actually teach at the same school I went to elementary school at.
Wow.
Nice.
Right. That's nice.
Right.
We love it when I'm sure it's a great feeling to be able to give back where you got your educational growth from.
Right. So although I do not live in the community I teach in, I tell my parents this literally every day that I'm with them and I'm teaching with them. I have a heart for our community. I have a heart for our community.
Yes.
And, it's funny because the teachers at school will say, Charlotte, the parents all talk to you. The parents all bring you pozole or they're bringing you X, Y, and Z. They always come back and see you. I have a heart for our community. I have a heart for the community that I teach for.
Tell us the population of the school mix, because that's what I want to talk about. Because you are an African American female. You're our first female presenter on here that we've had.
Right. Okay.
Yes. And when we talk about Santana.
Yes.
Santana.
Okay. Yes.
Santana, California. Talk about your population and the cultural diversity of your classroom.
Well, the demographics where I teach at is predominantly Hispanic. It's a predominantly Hispanic district. And I don't even know if there is a percentage for anything else other than that at school. I know that sounds bad. I would say maybe less than 1-2% any other race. Because it is predominantly Hispanic. It is predominantly Hispanic in our district.
And you've seen the demographics change in that area as well for 22 years.
Oh my goodness. We used to have back in the day where you had an EO class, and an EO class stood for English only.
Yes.
And you could group your classes like that.
Right.
You could group your classes like that. I don't know if it was very popular, but that's how we grouped our classes with EO classes. And as things started to change, the demographics started to change, I had to get what was called a clad. So I had to have an extension part to my degree to be, to, so to speak, be certified to teach at the same school that I'd always been teaching at. But somewhere about 6-7 years into it, I had to get a clad. And that was fine, but the demographics have changed. And the school that I particularly teach at, we call that a generational school, because you're not at that school because you chose to move to the area. You're at that school because you're more than likely living with someone who's a first, second, or third generation relative to you. Yes. And that school is definitely one of the schools where you're the students, you're like, oh, I know them. I've had so many students where I've had their parents.
Wow.
Who have either gone to school with their parents, or I had them when I taught third grade, or I had them at the beginning of teaching kindergarten. So our school is definitely a generational school because Orange County is so expensive to live in. Orange County is so expensive to live in. And we have a lot of apartments in our area, but more so houses. So the houses and homes that people are living in, you may have a great grandmother, you're going to have a grandmother, you're going to have an auntie, and uncle. You're going to have so many family members in that one home. That one home.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
And Ms. Stewart, if I may say this right quick, we are so excited to have you on as our first educated queen. Thank you so much for joining us. And second of all, I must say this real quick. When you opened up this, you said, I'm giving back to our community in which I am a part of. You are opening it up as being a team. Thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank
you for that.
That reminds you what Dr. Stewart, Sean Stewart from Houston was saying. He says, listen, these are not, these are our kids.
Right.
Because we are connected, because we have them more than most parents do.
Right.
So we have a connectedness with them. And so when they hurt, we hurt. And we have to think about, you know, that your kid could go home to grandma, great grandma, to auntie, because they're all living in the same area. With that, or in the same apartment, or what have you, same garage. Come on, we don't talk about that.
Yes, and so if I may say that, that is so normal and common for our families to 9 people in a 1 bedroom.
Yes,
you're renting a garage as a room for a family. That is so common. It is so common. It is so common. And you know, where there's a need, you need to rise up and meet that need. Because I have a commute into work, I have a routine. I like to get up at a certain time, and I get to work almost 2.5 hours before our school bell starts. And I noticed one of my students was getting to school at the same time I was getting to work. And single father, doing the best he could. He was married, and then within months his life had changed, and he became a single father, raising a 5-year-old girl on his own.
Wow.
And he would bring her to school like 7 o'clock. And I said, listen, there's nobody here to watch her at 7 o'clock, but I will keep her. I will keep her. I will keep her. You know, he didn't know that. And, you know, I'm just going to say it. When I see my own out there, and when I see somebody who could be my daughter, and when I have a daughter that age, when I have a child at home, it puts a different light on it. I had no problems with that little one coming in my classroom. I had no problems with it. If I stopped at Starbucks, listen, baby, I got you some oatmeal too. You know, I had no problem with that, because that is what we should do. It is a privilege every day that I get to go to work and keep somebody else's child, because they are trusting me. It is a privilege.
Love it.
For that short amount of time that I have those kids in class, I can't assume that everyone is being raised how I raised my children.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that you're going to be fed, you are safe, and you're going to learn some manners in class.
Right.
Love it.
Well, you know, okay, you talk the language of our next guest. My sister's on here. That's your best friend and everything, and all that. You know, shout out to all that. Listen, I met this next young man, and I'm gonna have him introduce his guest as well, Jay. But I met this next young man, Ivan Loomba, at a charter school, and he has your same heart. He did not. We would give our lunch, or we made sure every kid that came through that door was safe, and that they ate. And we don't bring your kids. While he was teaching and giving out tests, he had babies rocking the babies while he was teaching and giving tests, or giving them to me, because that's what it's all about. We are a village, and we have to help educate them. So without any further ado, I want to bring to us Mr. Ivan Loomba.
How you doing?
Hi. How you doing?
Good, I'm good. Let's go ahead and change Miss Charlotte's name. Instead of educator, it's a superhero, because what she's doing is incredible. And I think we need to all harvest that energy and see it as we are one of the village members helping these young people.
That's right.
It's true. It's true.
Ivan, tell us about yourself, what you do, why you do it. And with that, can I bring Jay in while we're doing that?
It's a party.
That's right. Jay, come on in the room with us. Jay. Now, for all of you who are doing a second take.
I won't go say that, Jay. I won't go say nothing. I promise you.
You know, put in the feed who you think he looks like, but we're not saying anything. Next, Tay Diggs. I mean,
oh my God. I am so red right now.
Listen, we are so glad to have both of you on. Ivan, tell us what you do. Jay, tell us what you do and why you do what you do.
Awesome. I'll go first, Jay, if you don't mind. I am Ivan Loomba. I am a school counselor here in Menifee, predominantly middle-class neighborhood, worked with Marty in a lower-income neighborhood. And, I had the opportunity to graduate hundreds of kids and worked with so many individuals that really needed our support. And I think for a lot of the times we we became that support bridge. And we had a motto in the school is that, we got to build that relationship first in order for that learning to happen. So when we built that relationship, we found out what they need, what they needed in order for them to be successful. So we went ahead and looked for those resources. And then after that, they started understanding like, okay, now it's my opportunity to get my high school diploma and get back on track. Because unfortunately, these young people are probably the ones that people stayed away from, the ones that were the marginalized young people. So after leaving charter school, I had the opportunity to move down here in Menifee. I got a high school gig as a high school counselor. I love teaching. I love counseling. I was in youth development for over 20 years.
Yes.
I consider myself the very first dreamers before that coin ever happened, because I too was an illegal immigrant that became a and try to give back to the community. And I see it as, it's a blessing knowing that there's other people out there, like everyone in this panel, that looks at young people as our future and our hope.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Isn't that amazing, Thomas?
Yes. Shout out to the school counselors.
Yes. One school counselor. Jay, talk to us. Who are you, what you do, and why you do it?
All right, before I introduce myself, Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Virgo's in the house.
There you go, brother. Come on, producer. There you go. Virgo. You see that?
We love y'all anyway.
There's 2 Libras in this room.
Thank you.
And I.
Yes.
So we equal.
We ready. We ready.
Okay, why don't you shut it all down? Being the first, Scorpios run it. Now,
did she just sting us all? Take that Virgo tag down.
Thank you.
This is Libra season. Jay, go ahead.
All right. My name is Jay Jackson. My way of getting into education, it wasn't as direct as maybe, some of you in like Loomba. I was in the military. I served some time in the Army, and initially had some ideas of, I'm going to go to law school, and that's what I wanted to do. I got into a school, and then I freaked out, did not go. And then my dad at the time was a retired Marine and was in education at that. His second career was education. And he was like, well, why don't you substitute teach and try it out and see? So I started off doing that for several years. And I actually realized I liked working with young people. So I decided to pursue my credentials as a counselor. So the last 7 years or so, I've been in education since 2005, but the last 7 years has been as a counselor. And I've been working with Loomba now for 4 years. I enjoy it. I really enjoy working with someone like Loomba, and I'm just going to talk about that because he is. There's no stop. There's no stop. His energy is just go, 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 go. What can we do to help these students? And I love that because I didn't have that growing up. I wish I would have had a counselor like that. Especially back then, it was more like you're either going to 4 years and those are the students we're going to worry out. If you weren't going, well then sorry, here's your diploma. For yourself. And so I try to take up that same mantra that that Charlotte had, and Loomba lives by it as well. It's our students, and that's what it's about. And I think as educators and stakeholders in education, if we all take up that mantra and put it into practice, we'd see a big difference in how things are produced.
Amazing. Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service in the military. We don't thank our military people enough for what you do and how you do it, and then transitioning into education. Wow, from one noble career to another one with it. That's amazing. So let's talk COVID. Let's talk, where are we in our educational system today, and how do we even navigate through this? So Charlotte, do you want to start with that? I see you like,
okay, listen,
go ahead.
We just found out, our district just found out last Tuesday, we had our board meeting. We just found out last Tuesday when we are going to go back, and as a soft opening, so to speak, and it's not a hard date, but it gives parents a date, date. And I liked how our school board and our superintendent is going back to this with his staff, with the staff, with the students, with the families. There's more than one person that you have to think about with all of this. And it can't be I. It cannot be I. You have to think about the others. And being in the district that I am in, I know that there are so many different hardships, I'm very blessed to be at home for the first time since, my kids, my daughter's 10, my son is 6. This is the most time I've ever spent with my kids. Let me tell you, in their life. This is the absolute most time I spent with my kids. And I'm not joking. I'm a working mom. I commute to work. So this is the most time I spend with my kids. And I say all that to say is that not every child has the home situation that my children have.
Yes, that's beautiful.
I understand and I recognize the need for kids to get back to school for that. I understand that. We need to, someone's got to be accountable for these kids. We need to check in, make sure these kids are safe, make sure they ate and things like that. So I understand the need for that. We are ushering back into the classroom November 2nd, starting with my grade first, kindergarten, and TK. So our district is going to usher in for 2 weeks just the lower primary. And 2 weeks after that, it goes first grade. 2 weeks after that, you're going to get second grade. Then you're on your break for Thanksgiving. So they're ushering in the kids that way. We're ushering the kids that way. And it's kind of
that.
Oh, you like that? I shared that with my kid's principal, and he said he liked that idea too. And it's something where you're taking I call them the little students on campus, letting them get to know the school. Because they've never been to the school. Chance to get familiar with them, although they've seen Mrs. Stewart for the last 7 weeks on Zoom and things like that. It gives them a chance to see us. It gives me a chance to meet them. And it's just a way that we can go ahead and start self-educating parents and things like that once we get back on. And every cough, every sneeze is, oh, you got it. You got to go home. We can't stay home for life. So what makes you come to sit home because they're coughing and they're sneezing? The flu season is coming up. All this is coming up. So that is what our district has done. Now, for teachers in the classroom, it's going to have to go above and beyond that. We cannot just rely on our custodians and our janitors to sanitize, to keep things clean. It cannot be the end of it. Like, okay, I'm done. We cannot depend on that. I know I can't. I have a family that I'm coming home to.
That's good. And Ivan has little ones too. So Ivan, how are you adjusting, and how's this opening up? Because he has twins.
I have 3-year-old twins at home, so it's not just me now that I'm looking after. So I finally caught up on the sleep, though. After 2 years. As far as our district, we tend to evaluate every 6 weeks. So our 6th week just happened right now. They had a school board meeting. They're going to have another school board meeting before November to see if a hybrid program could actually happen. However, one of the things that we do, unlike Charlotte's school, because she's in the primary school, so we're in a high school. So we have 3,200 students with seven periods. And it's not like a closed contained classroom where if one person was to get infected or, are asymptomatic, they could actually walk around, not know they have it, and then go spread it around for 7 different periods. So we're having to manicure a way where what's safe for everybody, right? So most likely it's going to be a hybrid program. And in all honesty, I think we're going to look at possibly second semester after Christmas break. Because cold and flu season's coming up. However, I know for us counselors, and Jay's going to understand this and because he receives the phone calls, is that parents and students are ready to come back. They are struggling, and some of them are doing well, but some of them are doing, their best. But mental health is a big thing with a lot of our
Yes.
and we deal with the students' trauma, and we're the first frontline workers for that. And
Yeah.
as school counselors, and I'm sure they would chime in on this, is that not only are we looking at the support of our admin, a support
Right.
of the district, but the support of our parents, because
That's right.
Right.
when they do transition back, we would hope that they wouldn't send a child that's sick.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, uh, we're in a world where it's very polarized, I would say,
Yes.
and regardless of left or right or whatnot, we all know that it's okay to wear a mask.
Right.
Yes.
It's a new norm until we get back into the norm. So it's important that we really, I would say, educate everyone,
Right.
and be open for everything and anything, right?
Right.
And Mr. Jackson, is there anything that you would like to add?
Marty.
Marty
Yeah.
got his mask.
I love it. I love it.
Go ahead, Jay.
I'm just gonna chime in on the mental aspect of it because
Yeah. Yeah.
Ivan and I I think we're zoomed out with all these conferences.
Right.
So although there was a good one I went to a couple weeks, is a wellness conference, and it was actually in Santa Ana. I didn't go to it, obviously.
Right.
But one of the things that glared out at me was the anxiety level has lowered in age. So it used to be, beginning around age 11, 12. Now they're finding as early as age 6.
Yeah.
There's anxiety levels.
Yes.
Then you couple that on top of what we're dealing with socially, globally,
Yes. Yes.
COVID, of course, the social issues,
Yes.
political issues. So these youngsters are really feeling it. I like Ivan and the rest of our team, we get inundated constantly with those emails. They just want help and a little bit of a respite from the craziness that's going on.
Right.
And this is where it's hard for Ivan and I, because Ivan and I, we're like hands-on people. We like to mix it up, and so not having access to our students the way we want to,
Right.
but it's crazy. And then there's another data that I learned from that conference. So 31% of females versus 13% of boys experience anxiety. And so even within that demographics, there's a big gap in how it's affecting. So as counselors, we, like I would say, we're trying to do our best to come up with resources, and whether it's calling home,
Right.
whether it's Google Meetup, whatever we have to
Right.
to talk to our students. But
Love it. Love it.
And Alvin and Jay, I just want to say I applaud having school counselors on.
Yes.
It's hard being a co-host and not wanting to just jump in and just say those things, but I can tell you this is what I love. I love counseling. I love therapy. This is just who I am. And one thing that both of you all have said that is very important is understanding that our kids need that touch. They need that touch that they're not getting at home. Like it's just like everyone is saying. Every home is not the same, right? So how can we continue in this virtual land to still show our students that we are here? I know for me personally, I use FaceTime on Fridays. I do like virtual games that I know that they would like to be a part of. So I just want to know, like, what are some innovative things that you all are doing to help decrease that anxiety, that feeling of being overwhelmed and stuff at home?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll take this topic. I know for myself, I am one of those extroverts that has a mouthpiece and likes to go to the classroom and ruffle some feathers in the admin building, I would say, in regards to changes that I see fit. But as far as students, I mean, we got to be creative. One thing that COVID taught us is that you can't just limit yourself being physically there or being in your office, right? Be creative in a manner of reaching out to these students. So one of the things that Mr. Jackson and I are doing is that we notice a lot of kids are on, social media. So we're
Right.
meet them where they're at rather than us expecting
Right,
them
that's
to meet
good.
us. So
Right.
we're introducing topics every week where it's called Motivational Minutes. So we do a motivational thought, word, phrase, or whatnot. We talk about it for a few minutes. And after that, we have links and resources on the bottom. And then students could take what they get from it. And then they could go ahead and dive and learn more about it.
Nice.
And also, I dusted off one of my old green screens in the back. And then, we did our creative counseling videos. If they don't want to hear us from an email perspective, we're going to send you a video. And you're going to see us knowing that we still care and we miss and love you. I
Right.
think the main thing is that the nature of the support system is what a lot of these kids are lacking. And
Exactly.
there's not a lot of Miss Charlottes out there. There's not a lot of Mr.
Yes.
out there. There's not, so if this one young person who comes from this from this area where they're too ashamed to turn on their camera because their house might be all, not up to par, then they
Right.
that at least like, man, my counselor's reaching out to me,
Right.
let me reach out, or my teacher's reaching out to me. So we're actually expanding it to not only just be Mr. Jackson and I, we're inviting teachers to do these motivational minutes.
Awesome.
We're doing these other creative ideas where, we're looking at some of the success story rather than always focusing on the negatives that we always see in teachers. So
Right.
we're expanding different things, and there's a lot of heroes out there that get recognized and need to be recognized,
I want to see if we can pull up that motivational minute. So, Daryl, I just sent you something and see if we can post that, because I love that, because that's so
Right.
encouraging. I love that idea. Don't you, Thomas?
Yes.
This motivational minute. So you have your school counselors posting on YouTube, because we know they're on YouTube anyway.
Right.
We
Right.
know they're on Instagram. We
Right.
know they're on Snapchat, but meeting
Right.
them right where they're at to encourage. Jay, what was that like? One, I know what it's like creating something with Ivan, but being a part of that, because you got to bring your A game. Come on, bring your A game.
One
Yeah.
thing.
Yes. With that,
That's
being
how
a
it
part of
was.
that. Uh-huh.
Exactly how it was. It was one take.
Mhm.
No, but for real, it was a good process. As counselors and as educators in general, you sometimes don't feel like you're doing enough.
Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
so when you get those opportunities, like now, this to me, I thank your whole staff for inviting me and Ivan for inviting me. I really appreciate this being on here. But when you get those opportunities to make a difference and do something, just that little nugget, it helps. And so just going through that process, it instantly it made me want to do more. I'm like, let's continue to do this even post-COVID. Let's just continue to do this, and maybe this can be part of the culture
Right.
that we have. So
I like that we're thinking past COVID and everything with that, to see how we can do that and to continue to engage, because the world has changed.
Yes.
With that. Yes. Charlotte, talk to us about some of the innovative ways that you're doing also, to, especially you're dealing with, you could be dealing with some cultural and some language barriers that you have.
Yes, and my English is not that great.
Right.
I'm going to say, like, shout out to the gentleman right there, you guys. That is awesome. Not to downplay it, but my level of innovation is not there to what Ivan was saying. My students are 4, 5, some are 6 already. So what I did when we first went out March 13th, went out, thinking that we were coming back in 2 weeks. We're coming back in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yes,
That's what they said.
coming back in 2 weeks. Who would have thought? Right now, we're almost going 7 months into this. But what I did with my parents was I had already established a relationship with these families, with these kids. So to give them my cell phone number wasn't even a second thought. Like, let's FaceTime. You FaceTime me, I FaceTime you. Here's my number. Zoom wasn't even in my vocabulary March 13th. I didn't know what Zoom was. I had no idea what Zoom was.
Well, now you're Zooming.
I didn't meet Zoom until like maybe 2 weeks after that. I had no idea who Zoom was. So the way I made my connections with my family was I gave them my phone number. We FaceTime. I mailed them a letter, and then the kids had to mail me a letter back to home. So my parents had their home address. And the very, rewarding thing of that, because I did it with no expectation, the parents that sent me cards, the parents that sent just a gift to the house, whether it's just, a handmade card, whatever. But I have parents send me a plant because now they have their home address.
Yeah.
So because there was that relationship, I had established a relationship with these families. And, we FaceTime. And what I did was for the families that were still working and their parents could not get on, what I do now, I call it our happy hour, our kinder hour. I will come on at 5:00.
Beautiful.
If you need to come on and meet with me, come on in. Let's meet. They have show and tell on Friday, which is huge. Show and tell is huge in kindergarten. So we do our show and tell because it cannot all be about Zoom. It cannot all be about Zoom. And I have my time where I tell the parents, here's a number. Call me if you need to reach me, because like them, I too have to learn Google Classroom. I didn't know what Google Classroom was. I had no idea how to use that platform. Call me so I can walk you through these things. And I never want to make anyone feel bad for something they do not know, because I tell them, I didn't know it either. I didn't know it 6 months ago. I didn't know this 6 months ago. But, just walking them through, making them feel okay. It is okay to be where you're at. So Ivan said he meets the parents, meets the students where they're at. I've got to meet my parents where they are at. Meet them where they're at. It is okay. It is okay.
That is powerful. That is powerful. And what I want to say, Ms. Stewart, is that we are showing and telling in high school. So know that the showing and telling is still happening in high school.
It's the best, right?
And what I mean by that is we have to let our students use their voice.
Yes.
And we have to find a way to empower our students to take Instagram and just write our story, like verbalize how you feel and send it to us so we can hear them and give them feedback back. So trust me, we're still showing and telling in high school.
On Instagram, right?
But I work in high school, so we are showing and telling. Trust me.
Show and tell big.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thomas, I know you got some more from counselor to counselor. What do you share with these counselors, and what are you even doing where you're at in DMV that we can pertain in California, and vice versa? What can you guys offer too? Because this is about sharing ideas, and really helping to strengthen all of our communities.
Right. And I just want to say the main thing that we are doing here in the series, yes, we're talking about COVID, but we are now past COVID. We are trying to get to the next level. And what I do is just empower our students every day. I am empowering my teachers. Thank you so much for logging in. I like your background today. So we got to learn how to step outside of our norm a little bit, because we are all zoomed out. I am zoomed all the way out. But if I'm feeling zoomed out and I'm showing that I'm zoomed out, how am I as a counselor and as a dean of students going to have my teachers be empowered if I feel defeated? So the main thing that I always do before I face any staff, any teacher, any students is I check myself. Before I hit log into the Zoom and I'm pushing in that long little code, I'm checking myself. I'm breathing. Davis, get through this. I got this. We're going to be okay. And what I also had to do was we had to step outside of how we learn, right? Because how we was learning in 2009, 2019 is not how we are learning in 2020.
Right.
So we got to find innovative ways to keep everybody engaged. And everything that I would say is that people want to be heard in 2020.
Yeah.
Our students have a story to tell, because don't think that they just sitting at home, just chilling, playing Xbox while they're in Zoom. Sometimes, like Ms. Stewart said earlier, our students are on the PlayStation as a way to block out what's going on inside of their homes, because not every home is the same. So I love how Ian and Jay are stepping outside of their norm by doing their motivational messages, and I cannot wait to watch it after this show. But I want to be able to develop toolkits that we can share across the board. And the main thing that I do is make sure that I'm okay before I interface with anyone else. That's rule number one. Because if I'm not okay, I'm not going to impact anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's not about Thomas. It's not about Jay. It's not about Ian. It's not about Miss Stewart. It's not about Marty. It's about our kids and making sure that they understand that it is okay not to be okay.
Right.
And
do check-ins.
And it's a very important, like you said, that self-care has
Right.
Yeah.
And for us counselors, we're having to deal, and for you as a dean, I'm pretty sure you're having to deal with staff members, and then making sure that our colleagues are okay,
right,
and supporting each other through this time, because everyone's handling it differently. So a lot of the times, parents and teachers or colleagues ask and run to us for answers, and sometimes we don't have the answers, and sometimes it's okay to say I don't know.
Yeah,
giving them a false information or hope. So for us, it's having that vulnerability just to say, you know what, we're all in it together, and we're going to get through this together. And we don't have all the answers, but we'll figure it out. You know, there's a lot of experience between everyone here, everyone in this group, and we'll figure it out. You know.
Yes. Okay, guys. I know we're fighting against the debate tonight and everything, and we got 10 minutes and everything. So this time has gone by way too fast, and we got to have all three of you guys back again, because this is just please. Too good. Would you say, Thomas?
Please.
Yes. We got to have you guys back on again, because there's so much expertise in the room. We just barely scratched the surface tonight. I love it, especially as we're talking about multi-generational families that are living together. We're seeing it more and more. We don't talk about it. We talk, the fears that our kids have, or the grandparents that living there, the fear of, even though they might be asymptomatic, whatever, bringing it back home. What look like? Do kids have an option? Do parents even have an option? And those are some of the discussions that we need to continue to have to empower our kids and everything. Jay, as we close, what's some words of advice that you want to give our listening community tonight? And how do we get a hold of you if we want to reach out to you?
All right. So I would say, I always preach this, and this is something that, connected me and Ivan. We preach this all the time. Relationship. And I heard Charlotte mention it. That is the bridge that is to make everything work. If as counselors, I want to, and the good thing is, as a counselor, we can bridge out to everybody, to our students, to parents, to teachers, and we become the liaison for everyone else. But everyone else also has to make those bridges themselves. So it's just like for Charlotte, when she has her class, she probably says good morning to her students every morning. So it's a routine. Same thing, I do that same type of thing. So relationship would probably be the one thing that I would say we need to work on, especially now that we are so far and all we're doing is Zooming and, Google Hangouts and Meet, so I need to do that. To get a hold of me, I can give you my work email. I mean, that's about.
Or even how do we get a hold of you via social media, if that will work? Or they can we don't want you to give your personal stuff out. Folks might be trying to get a hold of Tay Diggs and call you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, I got Tay.
I love it.
I got your back, Virgo. I got your back.
Thank you. I don't, to be honest, I don't do a whole lot of social media. I mean, I have my
never one. Me neither.
I have my Facebook account, but it's mainly family and close friends. But I
got you. I hear you.
Yeah.
So email would be cool. Your work email.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give that.
Sure. Go right ahead.
So as I tell you this, Ivan's gonna say something. So I go by Jay, but my real name is Howard. So it's gonna be Howard.Jackson.
Okay.
Howard.Jackson at PUHSD.org.
Okay. Jackson.
But I'll tell you about that story another time. How I came.
Marty.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. When Jay Howard was saying about relationships, this is the one thing that I say to my parents, that the kids learn this. I have a motto. It is nice to be nice.
Yes.
It is nice to be nice. And that will take you everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It is nice to be nice.
Yes.
It doesn't cost anything to be nice. It is nice to be nice.
I love it, Charlotte.
And, that is my relationship on what I stand with my families. It is nice to be nice. It doesn't cost me anything to be nice. It is nice to be nice.
Love your words of wisdom for that. So how do we get a hold of you, Miss Charlotte?
Well, I don't do Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat. None of that. I am so old school. I am
you got an email?
I do have an email.
Can we reach out to you on email if any of our parents have questions?
It's my name, Charlotte.Stewart 97 at me.com.
Love it. Charlotte.Stewart 97 at me.com. Love it.
I didn't know anything.
Right. Relationships. We have nice to be nice. Ivan, how are you going to follow up with that?
Oh, man. I would just say show empathy for each other at this time. I mean, everyone needs to see the other side of the track and be in that other foot, other shoe. So to me, if we all acknowledge that and everyone goes from different experiences, we'll be a better world. That's my thing. So as far as to contact, like all educators, we all probably spend social media because we don't want to get caught up, I would say.
All right.
But I myself haven't had a social media. That's the crazy thing that people all say. I mean, I remember when Friendster first came out. If people remember that. Friendster and MySpace. I didn't even have that. So, but you could contact me. It's the same thing as Mr. Howard Jackson, not Jay Jackson.
Ivan.Loomba.
It's Ivan.Loomba at ParishUnionHighSchoolDistrict.org, PUHSD.org. I think a lot of the times conversations like this need to happen, especially and mental health or not, we're all in it together in regards to COVID days and beyond.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Thomas, what do you think about this panel tonight?
I'm loving everything. And this is the first panel that we had that no one is on social media.
Right. All three of them like, I don't do social media.
Right.
Everybody's like, check my Twitter, check my this,
right.
We're like, slow down.
And look, I don't want to show mine tonight.
So Thomas, how do we get a hold of you, my brother? How do we get a hold of you?
I just want to say you can reach me at the following that be listed up. At my email at limitlesspossibilitiesforyou@gmail.com. You can also find me at
It's up. Limitlesspossibilitiesforyou.com.
You can find me on Instagram at limitlesspossibilitiesforyou.com and also on YouTube, Limitless Possibilities LLC. And Marty, if I could say my word, I would say the word is grace. As we continue to go through these times, we're going to need some grace in the next coming weeks. So let's just be grateful for ourselves, our families, and our students.
That's right. Well, as always, I cannot thank all of you enough for how you have enriched our show tonight. This was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. So again, for our panel, thank you guys so much. As always, we want to thank you for joining us here on Mental Health Matters with Marty during this whole thing. You can reach me upon a multiple plethora of different type of genres. Of course, my website, mentalhealthmarty.com. Please check that out, mentalhealthmarty.com, in there, as well as on, please, on our podcast, I'm all tongue-tied now, podcast with Mental Health Matters with Marty. And those of you who have Apple, we're on Apple, we're on Amazon Podcasts and all the podcast streaming forms. But we love you Apple subscribers to give us a 5-star rating and a review. But you can also text I Matter to 31996. Again, I Matter to 31996 to stay tuned and be in touch with everything that we do with Mental Health Matters with Marty. You could have chosen any platform to go to, but we thank you for joining us this week. And as always, we tell you to speak up, speak out, and live. Thank you again. We will see you next week. Be blessed.